Hello, I'm Blackbird, and this is a free-to-play guide to all the servants within the Lancer class. This is not intended to be an exhaustive and in-depth review of each servant. Rather, this is intended to give more of a broad overview of all the potential free-to-play servants, defined as 3-star or lower, in Fate Grand Order North America, with some relevant notes and information about each. Should you wish for a more thorough look at some of the top options, some of these servants, such as Inshun, have videos about them elsewhere on YouTube, such as Inshun's Breakdown and a video by G&A Reviews. I will start with the best free-to-play Lancer options. This is the good free-to-play Lancer category. These servants are the best free-to-play Lancers in the game, no questions asked. They all have definitive areas they specialize in, as well as being decent all around, so these servants are the clear first choice among the free-to-play Lancer option. Cuchulainn. First up is Cuchulainn. The fan-favorite Irish Child of Light is, despite the jokes about his awful luck stat, one of the hardest servants to actually kill for good. Between his skills of protection from arrows, a 3-hit evade plus defense up, battle continuation, which gives guts, and disengage, which removes debuffs and heals him, it is hard to actually keep the Hound of Ulster down for long. He isn't as heavy hitting as other servants, but his sheer durability and toughness means we'll have plenty of time to wear them down. In addition, his NP rank up quest, estimated to come in about a month or so, GameBreath has it listed as 07-2020, boosts his NP damage and gives him sure hit, so he doesn't have to worry about evade spamming fights. As a 3-star servant, he is able to hit to NP 5 fairly easily, and, as a relatively cheap investment, the returns on him will pay you great dividends. He is often single-handedly able to keep masters in the game due to his power as a solo or last man standing servant, and he excels in both roles as a last desperate line of defense. All in all, he is one of the best easily accessible servants of any class, and is arguably the best budget Lancer option. Next is Cuchulainn Prototype. He is essentially a version of Ku that trades off some of his immense survivability for more firepower. Proto-Ku retains his protection from arrows, which is still arguably the best defensive skill in the game, although he does lose battle continuation and disengage in exchange for skills that buff his damage and crit star gather rate. These buffs allow him to output better damage than normal Cuchulainn. He doesn't do much team support, however, and he has a deck that is a little bit awkward for NP gain, so he does function best with supports around him. Inshun is third in this category, and he is not your typical use case for a Lancer. His Noble Phantasm does no damage, and instead only buffs himself. Once he gets going, however, his basic cards hit for a ridiculous amount of damage, and he gains NP charge very quickly from all his crits. He doesn't have much teamwork though. While he is a very good star generator, he doesn't play well with others, and does best when either soloing or having a team of ideal supports around him. He can take a bit to get started, but once he gets snowballing you can't really stop him. He doesn't have a heal of any kind, so he can't take too much incoming heat, but his solo potential is one of the best of any servants in the game. The next category is OK options. The top options in the first section are all clearly superior to this category, but, should you not have them or aren't big fans, the one servant in this area does have some uses, and that one servant is Hector. Hector is the foremost defender of Troy, and he is decent at a couple of things. He does have arguably the best stun in the game, which can also reduce charge. However, he doesn't have good star gen or powerful team support, only tactics rank C+, although he does get a rank up, ETA 12-2021, that turns it into Guardian of Troy rank A, which makes it much better. His NP is an AoE that ignores defense, and has an interlude for it which boosts his damage. His stun and NP that ignore defense give him some uses for teams that either need additional control when fighting a boss, or for dealing with annoying fights where the opponent uses a lot of defensive buffs. Specialized uses is the next category. This is for the free-to-play Lancers who require a more narrow focus when being used, and thus are normally only called upon in battle under certain conditions or team compositions. Inshun could also fit here, but I ultimately opted to place him elsewhere. That means there are two servants in this tier. The first is Leonidas. The legendary King of Sparta is one of the best free-to-play taunters for early game and free-to-play players, as he has a skill that grants him a one-turn taunt, as well as another that gives him the guts. In addition, his Noble Phantasm grants him a 3-turn taunt against critical stars. He also has a team support skill of Warrior's Warcry rank B, giving Buster Card up to all allies for 3 turns. His biggest problem is his 3-turn taunt is in his NP, so it can be hard to trigger and keep him taunting for more than 1 turn. He also doesn't do a lot of damage, although this is understandable given his role as a tank. The other servant here is Jaguar Warrior. While Fujimura Taiga, that's Jaguar Warrior, has good offensive firepower as a Buster Crit specialist servant, she is held back by her lack of survivability options, and the fact that she is story locked. Because she is story-locked, it will be much harder to get her to NP5 than it would some of the other Lancer options, thus hurting her damage potential. Jaguar Punch rank A is a good skill, busting her own buster card effectiveness, mental debuff resist, applying a 2-hit evade to self, and getting crit stars, but it has such a long cooldown the odds of either Jaguar Warrior still being alive, or the battle still going on by the time it comes off of cooldown, means it is unlikely that this will be used more than once. In addition, she suffers from conditions on her third skill, Jaguar I rank A+. Unlike Gawain, a servant who has a similar field condition mechanic, she is unable to change the field to the condition that would trigger 2/3 of the effects on Jaguar I. Unless she is on a force field, she misses out on increasing her crit star drop rate and crit star gather rate. While her NP does apply sure hit, so no need to worry about pesky evades, and can bust her Brave Chain for really good damage, her Noble Phantasm being story locked and various issues with her skills keep her usefulness mostly confined to a specialist role. Just plain bad. The name of this category explains itself. Under no circumstances should you actually be using any of these servants in your roster if you have any alternative whatsoever. First here is Benki. No, just no. He has a taunt, but that is quite literally the only thing good about him, and other servants like St. George and Leonidas have the taunter role on lockdown. He has no damage to speak of, long cooldowns, and he has RNG-based skills, which means there's really nowhere to use him. Hard pass. Romulus. The founder of Rome is very reliant on RNG. Poor damage output, and he doesn't do anything well enough to justify using him over other servants in any area. He has very low hit counts and star generating. His skills are all decent individually, but don't mesh well together, and his targetable guts only last for one turn. He has one rank up quest now and will get another, ECA 07-2021, but it doesn't help him very much. Steer clear. DR mood. Poor attack and poor NP game really hold him back. He does have decent survivability and has a buff removal on his NP, but that's about it. His damage is just awful, and despite being a quick-based servant, he does not produce stars at a good rate. Certainly not more than other servants can. He can be fairly durable, but both coup versions do it much better than he does. All in all, a major disappointment, as the performance he gives in Fate Zero should have warranted a better version of him in Fate Grand Order. Fortunately for Diarmid fans, he does have a 4-star Saber class version of himself coming in September of this year, who, while not a rock star, is certainly a usable solid servant. The final category is not out yet. I could maybe have done without it, as it only consists of only one servant, but for the sake of thoroughness, I thought it would be worth mentioning Gareth. Gareth is not out in FGO&A yet, but she's a 2-star Lancer whose entire shtick revolves around surviving 3 attacks. She does have a single-use cut that does aid in this endeavor, and then using an NP boosted by a skill that gives buffs based on the number of times she was hit. Other than this rather niche use, however, Gareth doesn't bring much to the table, and, while one of the more fun servants to play around and experiment with, has some severe limitations. In conclusion, this was my stab at providing some clarity and guidance to the mass of free-to-play accessible Lancers, and, as mentioned previously, it is not intended to be an all-encompassing look into each servant. Knowledge of the servants mentioned came from a variety of sources, including, but not limited to, personal experience, talks with other players, common sense, and analysis on GamePress. In the meantime, I hope you all have a great day, and enjoy Fate Grand Order. And remember, no matter what I or anyone else says about the usefulness of any given servant, the goal of playing a game is to have fun, so if a favorite servant of yours isn't the best investment gameplay-wise, that does not mean you can't give them some attention, and a slot in your roster.